In this video, I'm going to be unboxing OrcaTorch D530 video light, comparing it to some of the other OrcaTorch lights I have, and also unboxing a TrustFire D50 video light and doing a comparison between the two lights. After the unboxing, I'll be doing a little bit of underwater testing in a pool. If you want to check that out, and for further testing and results using these lights, check out my next video coming out. I just got this new TrustFire DF50 light, and I plan on taking it diving tonight. So I already did a little bit of the unboxing already, but it came as an assembled unit with, it didn't come with this knob on there, so I put that on, and I recommend tightening that up a little bit with a wrench, because when you spin the lights around, you know, in your clamp, you don't want it getting loose. One thing is, it's very tight. It's very kind of difficult to spin open. Inside, it's got a removable battery. Comes with a USB cord that just plugs in here. No need to have a charger. That's pretty nice. One thing you'll have to do, which I already did, is remove this little piece of plastic which protects the battery from making contact. So take that out. It also came with extra O-rings and a little bit of grease. I put a little extra grease on the O-rings and the seals and the thread just because it's so tight. I just wanted to make sure it was extra lubed up. And it's super bright. 2 taps turns it on, and then from there, just 1 tap, 2 taps again, turns it on, goes to a black light, UV, red, super bright, not as bright, high, low beam. And so there's just 4 modes. And then if you want to turn it off, just hold it. So the operation is a little bit easier than my DF30 lights. I'll give you a little update on those as well. As you can see, the DF50 is way bigger than the DF30 light. It's way more powerful also, and I kind of think that the DF30 may not be as bright as it once was, but that's still pretty bright. But compared to this one here, this one is way brighter, covers way more area also. I also like the operation a little easier. It's just that going through this, when this one turns off, the DF30, you got to tap it 3 times, and I always seem to tap it like 4 times, so I'm always just cycling through the lights trying to get to the right setting. Versus the DF50, once it's on, there's 4 buttons that you can cycle through, and so it's kind of like, they call it unlock position. It's going to be on high beam or low beam, and if I want to cycle through those, it's just 4 buttons. It's going to be a lot simpler just to cycle through. So I can't wait to get this underwater and see how this balances out. But as it is, this side right now is way heavier than this side. I chose to have the light on the right side because I normally just shoot with one hand, right-handed over here, and that kind of gives me a little bit more leverage to balance the heavier side. One thing I wasn't really happy with TrustFire's customer service. They are supposed to have a 3-year warranty on their lights, and these are just over a year old. When I reached out to them, I reached out 3 different ways. I got a little bit of response. One response was an email that came in German that I responded to and said, hey, could you communicate in English? And when I didn't hear anything back, I translated my response to German and sent them an email, and I haven't heard back from them yet. So not having really good luck with TrustFire's customer service, but it is an affordable light. So, you know, you might get what you pay for there. I'm going to try to do a quick unboxing of the OrcaTorch D530V. Now this is the video light as opposed to the D530 D530 regular light, which means it has a wider beam angle. I'll show you what that would be like compared to these other lights here. All right, so inside here you get some instructions, a little brochure on some of the other lights offered by OrcaTorch. I have a couple of them right here. So I have the D550, the D530, and now I've got the D530V. So in the box, you get the light, you get this mount, which will then allow you to mount it to your camera tray, you know, with one of these brackets. So I'll get that mounted up here. Comes with some extra O-rings, an extra ring in the back, which, you know, is nice, helps it be seen, makes it a little more visible. It comes with 2 batteries. You don't need really a charger, you just need this USB cable. Plugs right in, charges the batteries. Comes with this lanyard, which I don't really like to use these lanyards. That's not how I like to use them, but it's nice that it comes with those. Comes with a little user's manual. See if I can just figure out how to operate it, and a warranty registration card. One thing is, all these lights have been donated by the Outdoor Equipment Experts. Outdoor Equipment Experts, Amazon reseller for OrcaTorch, for donating these lights for me to test. All right, so I'm just gonna unscrew the head here. This piece will just drop right on there. I'm gonna wait to tighten that up because I want to get the button lined up. Oh, I've got to put the battery in. And you might want to add a little extra grease to the O-rings. And another thing I learned is that you might want to add a little grease around the buttons. I'm comparing the TrustFire DF50 light, these are way smaller. That's going to be nice and handy, great for travel, and just nice compact design. DF50 is super bright, and I'll show you the difference here in a minute. But one thing is, with this big handle head on this DF50, the button is kind of difficult to find. I think I'm going to want to have that probably up here like this, kind of have it balanced. I'm going to want the shaft in line with the button. That may help just me find that button. So if you compare the difference between the D530, so these right next to each other, like you can see there's really no hot spot in this video light compared to this. This creates a hot spot, and you know, when you have a dive buddy who's shining the light on the thing that you're trying to video, you really don't want them shining a bright spotlight on the subject, because it's going to just wash everything out. You're not going to really see what's in that super bright spotlight. So you want something like this that has a much wider beam. Here's an underwater comparison of the D530 on the left and the D530V video light on the right. You can see the video light has a much wider angle, and the one on the left has sort of that hot spot. I'm looking forward to how this is going to perform, because this actually looks pretty good. So it does have a high and low beam. Now if we were to compare it to the TrustFire, so now this is just super wide. Now they're a little bit different temperature, so that's one thing that I was kind of worried about. When they come together and mix, maybe you're not going to be able to tell that so much, but coming up here close, you can kind of tell that they're different temperature, but it's going to be interesting to see just how these perform differently. There's a big difference just here doing this test, I think. Low beam on this. Yeah, it's really soft edge. The way these are going to work, something kind of like this. Now you want to have if your subject is right here, you want to have the edge of the light just meeting. Another cool thing about this OrcaTorch D550 is that you can get a little snoot focus cone, and it can be just like a little tiny spotlight. Really cool for getting light just on the subject and kind of keeping everything around it dark. So that'll be something that I'm going to want to try out later also. Time to get these in the water. To start out with these lights underwater, I wanted to do a little bit of pool testing. This is footage with the OrcaTorch 530 video light. And this is with the TrustFire D50, which is, you can tell, is quite a bit brighter. The blue and red light features of the D50 are way brighter than they were on my old D30 lights. I normally have my GoPro mounted to the tray, but for this demonstration, I'm using the GoPro outside of the tray and giving you an idea of what the angles looks like coming out of the light. This is the D530V underwater. And here I've switched to the TrustFire D50. Notice the temperature difference. You'll want to adjust your camera settings accordingly. Here I'm doing some circles just to give you an idea of how big the area is with the D50. Here's a shot with just the TrustFire D50 and a little bit more of a close-up. Right here you can see the shadows change a little bit, and I've just added on the OrcaTorch from the left. Now I've switched to the OrcaTorch only on the left so you can see that difference. And a little bit more of a close-up with just the OrcaTorch. And here's a switch from high beam to low beam. Here I've switched to only the TrustFire D50. And in this shot you can see I'm adding the OrcaTorch from the left. In conclusion, both these lights are great lights. I would recommend having two identical lights to have similar beam angles and color temperatures. The TrustFire DF50 is a brighter light. It's also bigger and heavier. The OrcaTorch, it's a nice travel size. It comes with extra batteries, and you can easily change out the batteries in between dives. The runtime on the OrcaTorch was much better. The pricing of the TrustFire retailed at $188. I think there are some sales on it occasionally. And the OrcaTorch retail value is at $119. And also there can be some sales on it as well. But in general, the TrustFire costs a little bit higher price. And with that, you get more lumens and a little bit more brightness. One thing I did like about the TrustFire is that the mounting of the post is close to the head, which allows you to keep the light behind the camera, which will help reduce backscatter. With the OrcaTorch, the mount system here, which puts a lot of the light in front of the post, makes it a little bit difficult to get the right angle and try to keep the light behind the camera. But it is possible with some different linkage, that sort of thing. Also, using the OrcaTorch as a handheld light would be, that's a really good way to use this light. If you are using a GoPro on a stick or anything like that, and you have just the OrcaTorch lighting from your other hand, or somebody else lighting using the OrcaTorch, that would be a really good way to use this light. I wouldn't see that really being possible with this TrustFire. It's just too big and too heavy to use as like a handheld light, I think. As far as customer service, I mentioned I had an issue with the TrustFire and have reached out to them and really have gotten no response. With the OrcaTorch, I did have the issue with the mounting the snoot, and they're in the process of sending me a new head to resolve that issue. So the customer service from OrcaTorch has been phenomenal. In conclusion, you'll do good having two of these lights or one of the OrcaTorch, and good luck and have fun videoing, shooting. Hit like and subscribe if you found this at all helpful, and use the links down below if you want to get one of these lights. Thanks for watching. I think you'll make a right decision getting two of either of these lights. I don't know what else to say. So